everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Your Competitive Edge from Baird Warner. I'm Lauren Walker. I'm from Inman. And today I get to sit down once again with my friend, Dean Russo, which I'm always excited about because, Dean, you tell it like it is. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. Beautiful day
Excellent.
outside. We'll take it, right?
That's all you need, right? That's all you need.
That's right.
So our conversation today is a little controversial because we decided to call it Stop Giving Away Your Business. And I want to start with a story. I feel like that's always the best way to get people warmed up. So I was wondering if you could share with us the story you shared with me of your colleague who had a little issue with a portal, a certain portal.
Yeah, and that's what I think we're going to focus on today, and how to really preserve our businesses and grow them in such a different environment.
Yes, exactly.
So, this has happened more than once, but we have awesome agents at Baird Warner, and we had a top producer in one of the offices come up to a colleague of mine that works with me, and he told me the story, and this is kind of the way, not even kind of, this is the way it went. The way it went was this. So this particular top producer got a call from one of the, and I call them arbitrage companies, and I won't mention any names because there's about 30 of them now spending over $20 billion driving traffic, and got a call and said, hey, we have a buyer, we want to refer to you. And they specifically requested you. And she said, awesome, who is it? And they said, well, you're going to accept the referral? Oh, yeah, I'll accept the referral. And so she took the referral, they sent it over, and she realized it was a past client and friend that was in her database. And so she called them back and she said, wait a minute. Hey, you know what? This is a past client. She's in my database. The family I've been working with for years. And this isn't really a referral. They said, well, no, she called us first, but if you can prove that you've had communication with her for the last 14 days, 2 weeks about buying real estate, then it's no longer a referral. We waive that whole obligation. And the agent said, well, what would be considered proof? Well, a text, an email, something that's showing that there was communication back and forth. And you know what? She didn't have it. And so she said, well, I still consider them my client. I've worked with them before. And so she went out and sold them a $400,000 house.
Okay.
As she should have. Right. And did an awesome job. Okay. She then gets a letter from this particular arbitrage company, and they said, okay, your company owes us out of that commission a 35% referral fee. Well, 400, easy numbers, 2.5% on the buy side, 10 grand, $3,500.
Right.
She said, oh, no. This was my client.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. And they said, oh. And then she was served with papers.
Ouch.
And so she took the papers and she went to her attorney and she said, hey, what do I do now?
Right.
And he said, well, you really have two choices. One choice is you can go to Florida, where they filed this demand, and you can go there and lose because you signed it.
Yeah.
Or you can pay it. Either way, you're going to pay it.
Yeah.
So she begrudgingly paid it. $3,500. She directed the company, take it out of my commissions, put it on my receivables, however it was done, and they were sent the money. Well, obviously she wasn't very happy, but she did what her attorney told her to do. Oh my gosh, 30 days later, guess what happened?
Oh no.
She gets a registered letter from the same company.
Yes.
With a bill for $500. And so she went, oh my God, what's this for? And so she took it to her attorney. And he said, well, this is a demand for the court costs that it took for them to file because you didn't pay the 35% referral fee. And so she said, I'm not going to pay you this. What should I do? He said, well, you can go to Florida and you can lose, or you can pay it. Okay. So we've seen that happen.
Yes.
More and more throughout the nation.
Yeah.
And what's happening today, if you go on to the two highest traffic sites, is that there's this magic button at the very top, which says, click here to set the showing. And it's on top of every single property page, even absolutely. Your listings. So no more my listing, my lead. And when they click it, it goes to a, let's call them an inside sales associate or bot that's very, very good. The appointment is set, and then they refer it to an agent. You see, that's the consumer behavior today. And that's the risk we run. And that's what will strongly affect your business and the industry, is if we don't have a way to really combat this. So that's the story.
So there's a lot of lessons there. I think the first lesson is read the terms and conditions. But the second lesson is what? What can today's agent do to combat this funneling off of their business that they already have? This isn't even net new.
Well, let's talk about the first one first. You have a choice.
Yeah.
You either take the leads or you don't. They're not going to arm wrestle with you over waiving anything that you can't prove that you've had communication with in the last 2 weeks, and some are 30 days, but almost all of them are 2 weeks. So let's remember that.
Yes.
If you've had communication with them about real estate in the last 2 weeks and you can prove it. And it could even be you logged a phone call in your CRM. So that's number one, but they're not going to waive that. Number two is, OMG, what can we do about it?
Yeah.
And the answer is what we've been talking about doing about it for years and years and years and years. And that is staying in constant communication with our past clients, sphere of influence, and new leads, following up systematically in every single way, every single day, to take that 1 hour or 2 hours a day. And if you're working 40 hours, which is really unusual in this business, if you want to do a lot of business, but take 2 hours a day times 5 days a week or 10 hours a week, a quarter of your time to stay in contact. Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
Whether or not they call you, and there's some statistics on that as well, whether or not they call you, if you stay in contact, if you check in on them, if you show them you care, things are not the way they used to be. People don't look at the data and say, oh, we've been here 8 years, it's time to move, the data says so. It doesn't work that way.
No.
There's all kinds of triggers today that we've never had to deal with before, that a seller or a buyer that had no intention of moving all of a sudden are triggered to move. I don't care if they've been there 2 years, 3 years, 7 years, 10 years.
Right.
It doesn't make any difference. So this is what it is. It's HABU. Call it HABU.
HABU.
Your highest and best use is to develop business. And the way we develop business in this business is to stay in contact with our past clients' sphere of influence, neighbors, friends, oh my gosh, relatives. We've seen sisters and brothers get referred to their
We've had some stories on this series.
OMG, okay? Because you never, ever know when their life situation changes. Now, here are the statistics. Newest 2020 NAR statistics, home buyer and home seller survey. And I suggest you get it and go through it, as I do every year. The average buyer or seller does research online for 3 weeks before they contact any agents whatsoever.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Didn't used to be that way, right? They used to not, they used to go into the office because they didn't have the access they have today and say, I want to talk to a realtor. Or they called their friend because they had the access. Or they called their sister because she had the access. Today, nuh-uh, that's not what happens. 3 to 4 weeks is the data, according to NAR. So that puts us at risk if we're not in constant contact, because this is what's happened. This is a fact before COVID, but even more of a fact after COVID. And I'm going to tell you why. This is critical to understand.
Right.
Again, National Association of Realtors statistics. And I'm gonna make sure I get these right.
Yeah, get the numbers right.
25% increase in renters saying that they intend to buy a house post-COVID than said they would pre-COVID. 25%.
25%.
Okay, now think about that. You have a friend who is renting that said, I'm going to buy next year, 2022. But now they want to have control of their own environment for obvious reasons post-COVID. You don't know that they're researching unless you stay in constant contact. You don't know that because they're researching and there's these magic buttons on top, set up a showing now, talk to an agent, get more information, boom, and you're toast. And they may say, oh, no. My sister is Susie, but guess what? It's already a referral and it may go to you or it may not. And it will be a referral.
Yeah.
That's the buyers. Oh my gosh. 38.4% increase in the sellers that said that they're going to sell post-COVID than the survey said pre-COVID. Why? Because they can move now. Yeah. Because they're moving because they can work from most anywhere. Now, where is Inman located?
All over.
Okay. Where's the home office?
We don't have one. Okay. We are fully
remote. You can work from anywhere.
Yes.
My company is in Chicago and it's been there since 1855. I now live in Colorado.
Right.
Okay. I'm telling you, 38.4% of sellers are saying that they intend to move and they didn't before because they can. And 25% of buyers are saying, I want control. More people are saying, I want control over my own environment. But we don't know that if we don't stay in constant contact. So remember, habu.
Habu.
Because you need to train your buyers and sellers that you are their resource, even if they're not thinking of buying and selling, because tomorrow, and this is the new journey.
Yeah.
They get a call from their boss. Their boss says, things have been going pretty well being remote post-COVID, during COVID. And I'm cutting down the office size to 10% of what it was, 25% of what it was. You need to come in once a month. You need to come in once a week. That's what's happening today. And you don't know that. You see, that's a call between the boss and the seller.
Sure.
Or the buyer if they're renting. And all of a sudden, the buyer and seller realize I'm living in a 3-bedroom house. I have a boy and a girl and two dogs, or one dog, like you do, Lauren, and a couple of cats. Okay. And I need an office and I don't have one.
Yeah.
So we have to move. And you don't know that unless you're in constant communication, unless you're doing what we should be doing. We always knew what we should be doing, but was the last thing on the priority list.
Right.
Okay. It was the
Right.
first thing on the priority list. It got pushed to the last thing we did every day. And at 9 o'clock, we felt guilty because we didn't do it. Okay. And we said, oh, I'm going to do it double tomorrow. And then all the fires start coming in and, all of the minutia. And then we don't do it again.
Yeah.
And pretty soon we're, oh my gosh, here's one. And I sold real estate boots on the ground for over 20 years. You're in the car, you're rushing to your listing appointment, you get a call, it's a past client. The past client says, hey, we're thinking about selling our home. And you go, well, I'm in the car right now, I'm on the way to an appointment, I'll call you back as soon as the appointment is complete. You go to the appointment, there's 15 messages that end up on your voicemail while you're in the appointment, but you've got the phone turned off or you've got it on silent.
Right.
You get out, you start listening to the messages, there's 3 fires, you start putting them out, and all of a sudden at 10 o'clock at night, when you're sitting there doing paperwork, not your highest and best use.
Right.
So I forgot to call them back. Now it's too late.
Yeah.
But there's a bit of embarrassment. And sometimes you don't call them back the next day, and sometimes you do. But if you do, it's an apology.
Yeah. You're back-footed. Yeah.
It ain't a great way to start out. So what can we do about it?
That's where I want to go. What do we want folks to do about it? Let's leave them with something inspiring. Let's get some action items out here.
All right. So this is the way that I think we can win.
Okay.
Win against the magic buttons.
Yes.
Okay? Because here's a really quick statistic, and then I'll tell you how to win. And this is really a sad statistic. Newest survey, 2020 NAR survey, 91% of your buyers are saying, I would use the same agent again. They did a great job. I would use the same agent again.
91%.
91%.
That's gone up.
13% do.
That's
because
ridiculous.
They forget the name, they don't think you care, or they're hitting the magic button.
Yeah.
That's a 78% loss of potential business. That's buyers. Sellers, 89%, very close, are saying they would use the same agent again. I was pretty happy, I'd use them again. Okay. 28% do. That's a 61% loss of business. Okay, keep that in mind. Now here's what you can, here's how you can win. We've been talking about years about time blocking, communicating with your past clients, sphere of influence, current clients, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And that's always been pushed till 9 o'clock at night when you feel guilty for most people.
That's true.
You put a time block in your schedule that you don't let anything conflict with. And you stay in contact with your past clients, sphere of influence, and neighbors. Because if you do, and they're just thinking about selling because they got that call from their boss, or somebody got pregnant with twins, and now there's panic about not having the twins, but not having the space for the twins in the 2-bedroom condo downtown. If you stay in flow, as Larry Kendall says,
yes,
you stay in contact, you'll know, because they'll go, oh, funny thing you called. We were thinking about, guess what? We were going to have twins. Guess what? My boss just called. And then you caution them not to hit the magic button, because they will be working with somebody that you cannot guarantee the quality of. Right. And besides, you have their best interest at heart. That's what you need to do. You see, our secret weapon is now how good we do the paperwork. There's transaction management companies that do that. Our secret weapon is not taking 35% referral fees. Our secret weapon is not buying leads from various companies that really don't have our best interest at heart. Our secret weapon is us.
Yeah.
Is our relationships. You see, ROI is return on investment.
Yeah.
We need to be looking at this differently. We need to look at it as ROR. That's return on relationship.
Yes.
But you have to invest money to get ROI. You have to invest time to get ROR. So that's what I would greatly suggest you do. Now, here's the problem. I don't have the time, I'm putting out fires.
Right. Right.
You need to figure out, you see, the most important thing is not for you to write the contract, for you not to, the most important thing is not always for you to do the showings. The most important thing is for you not to necessarily call the attorney 3 times before he returns the call, or the lender. The most important thing is none of those things. The most important thing is that you stay in contact with your relationships and create new ones. So you need to block that time, and you need to delegate everything else that you can. If you want to do your own showings, that's great. But here's the thing. In today's totally insane market, what happens when you're booked all day tomorrow with 2 different clients showing properties, and it's now 8 o'clock at night, and you get a call from one of your other buyers that says, hey, you know what? You just sent me a listing that just went on the market. It looks like it's perfect for us.
Yeah.
Can we see it tomorrow? This is when we have time. And guess what? You don't have the time. So you say, no, I've got to show up the next day, and they lose it because it sells in hours. If you don't have a backup plan to cover yourself for contract to close, for showings that come up that you can't do, guess who wins? The arbitrage companies.
Yeah.
Because they set up showing there.
Yeah.
ROR, return on relationship. HABU, highest and best use. And it's you.
I love it. Those are great acronyms, powerful acronyms. People should be writing them on little stickies and putting them right in front of their monitors, and then restructuring their day.
You got it.
That's great. Dean, thank you so much for talking us through that. Thanks for sharing that story. I hope folks were a little bit frightened, but also highly inspired by everything that you shared today. So
not trying to frighten anybody. I'm trying to help people win.
I think you are. I think you are. I'm even focused on Habu now. So
thanks so much, Lauren. It was my pleasure.
Absolutely. We'll talk again soon.
See you now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.